Perfect. Okay. Let me swap over to here. And okay, now I'm actually got it all lined up in the right spot. Okay, same sort of spiel, except we're talking 2 Below Zero now.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Kurt Lidke, Executive Director of Klamath Film, and you just watched 2 Below Zero, a quirky comedy in our features category. With us is the film's director, Tim Cash, and co-star, Pennan Brae. Thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, Pennan, you not only starred in this film, you also wrote it. How did the concept for 2 Below Zero come together?
Well, I've always been interested in the late 1970s. You know, like the fashion and especially the music. You know, you had a lot of soul music, you had rock and roll, and then of course you had disco. And there was sort of this battle between rock and roll and disco at the time. And so for our character in the film, we wanted to make him look kind of that era. And I also always wanted to shoot something in the snow. You know, A, the challenge of it, and B, the beauty of it. And so essentially the premise of the film is a fellow who's stood up at the altar, and psychologically he has trouble accepting that, and he sort of fashions a mannequin to represent the lady who left him at the altar. So just on that premise, then we flesh things out into kind of this dark comedy.
Great. And where did you end up filming this?
We filmed it, actually, well, half of it was filmed at my property just outside of Bend in Temelo. One, obviously, before we started shooting, it was a low snow year. There was no snow anywhere. As we were getting ready to shoot, we kept getting worried, and we were going to have to go higher and higher in elevation to put this trailer and then drive up and then deal with the snow, bring generators and lights and all these things. And as luck would have it, I guess about maybe 7 days before the shoot, we got the most snow we've gotten in one dump in Central Oregon. As long as I've been here, 20 years, it was almost 4 feet of snow. And so we already had the trailer parked at my house when the snow fell. So super easy. We're just like, let's film it right where it is. This is great, because everything just all of a sudden became the Great White North, no matter where you were. So as logistically speaking, that made things, on my end, way less stressful. This film, we shot with pretty much no crew. So most days, I'd say 5 out of the 9 days, it was just Rob and I. And we would do scenes, we would go maybe warm up, move some lights around, go back out there and do it. And Rob, I mean, I was all bundled up because I'm the director and stuff, so I got all the stuff. But he had to wear, like, you know, just a hockey jersey or whatever sometimes with, like, nothing underneath. And so it was like, when we were shooting at night, I think it was like 10 degrees outside or something. And, you know, you could just see, like, the air coming out of Pennan's mouth constantly. And he was such a trooper. He just kept going, and he just kept the, you know, the smooth line. And I got to hand it to him for, like, really pulling it out, because it was, after 9 days of shooting in the cold, it was pretty daunting.
Yeah, I mean, this year in particular, when I'm doing these Q&As and I talk to filmmakers about the harsh conditions, normally we're talking about how to film during COVID, but with this one, I'm more curious about filming in the snow, how that impacted things, because snow is so reflective, maybe how that impacted lighting. But it sounds like it was advantageous too. If it was right on your property, you can go inside and get warm immediately. It's not like, you know, when they filmed Empire Strikes Back, they were just like at a hotel in Norway and just putting the camera out the hotel door while the poor actors were stuck outside. It was like -30. Mark Hamill's like freezing and everyone else is toasty warm inside, you know? So I'm sure Tim and Pennan, you had very different experiences, because Tim was able to stay warm while you were out in the frozen cold. But of course, being from Canada, maybe that was just like suntan weather for you.
Well, I don't know how, to be honest, how warm Tim was actually. I mean, it was freezing. You know, it was cold, and you know, I remember a week before the shoot, I was calling Tim and suggesting, you know, some last minute wardrobe suggestions for the actresses. You know, and I was completely ignorant to, you know, Tim was trying to impress upon me how cold it was down there and how much snow had fallen, and you know, in my head, you know, I thought, well, it's the U.S. Like it's got to be warmer than than where I'm at. But Vancouver's kind of an exception to the rule of being so close to the coast. We have a pretty temperate winter. Yeah, I did grow up in the cold back east, but man, when we filmed in Oregon, like I just couldn't believe. Well, driving in, it was a winter wonderland. It was beautiful. It was spectacular. But that was with the wind chill. I mean, that was as cold. I stayed in a hotel one night during the middle of the shoot, and actually the heat in my room broke. Like the power went out, and it was just brutal. Like it was. I think the first, it was a 9-day shoot. The first 5-6 days was relentless with the wind chill. I can't remember what the temperatures was, but I mean it was below zero. Like it was, but it was only 9 days.
So with that, did that ruin a lot of takes where you're just like, I'm sorry, I need to like you can't stop shivering, or you're halfway through it taking like, damn it, it's cold or something?
I'd say times where you were shaking for sure. One of the things that happens when there's just two of you on set, and obviously Rob's got the blocking to worry about, his lines to worry about, all of these things, and then I'm worrying about moving the lights and the reflectors and the mic. I just had the mic on a C-stand with a boom pole in almost every shot because I didn't have somebody just like moving it around because it was just the two of us. So a lot of the times I wouldn't use the mic for the action stuff. We would just do some sound stuff later. But it was a little bit. It was daunting. And so there was one scene I remember specifically where we shoot the master, and then we go in and we shoot our pops up close, and then we realize that the mannequin didn't have the pink hat, or she had the pink hat when she wasn't supposed to have the pink hat on, and we just had to start over that whole scene. So we were like 2 hours into the scene, and I remember Pennan Brae's head just drops. He's like, T, she's got the pink hat on. And I was like, and then of course the last 2 days of filming, all of a sudden it warmed up, and then we're shoveling snow back into the scene because snow is melting all around the trailer. So we're just, and then we had airplanes flying over the last day of shooting constantly. Mics were breaking. So it's filmmaking, so it's problem solving on an hourly basis. The dream would obviously be to do this with like 3 or 4 more people that know what they're doing as well, and then it takes a little bit more of the stress off of our shoulders.
That makes me think of the Lord of the Rings. All the hobbits would have to go through hours of makeup just on their feet. And Sean Astin and Elijah Wood kept a running tally of all of the days where they had to film where their feet weren't shown in the shot, but they still had to get feet makeup. Like, why did we have to endure going through this for hours on end when you aren't even gonna shoot the makeup that we put on?
Right.
So, with a comedy that has such a ridiculous premise and is so kind of over the top as this one is, the characters playing it straight is what makes it funny. But I imagine it was really hard keeping a straight face with a lot of these scenes with how ridiculous the setup is, right?
Well, the actresses, are just hilarious and super talented. So I recall cracking up going through a couple of stretches where I was having trouble facing them and delivering my lines. Tim's wife actually plays. She's
Muskrat.
She just nailed the part. Yeah, she
put the wig on, and all of a sudden she became the character in the living room. She just popped it on, and all of a sudden her voice changed, and it was just like, whoa, that's it. And she was the starlet of the which was our last film that we brought to Klamath Falls. Plays a completely different character, so that was kind of cool to see her come out of that and play this, an opposite of what she played in the last film.
So right. Facing Yuvia, Tim's wife, when she was in character, you'll see in the film, what she pulls off, and you can imagine how hard it was looking at her in the eye and delivering lines cold, straight. You know.
Any bloopers or really lighter moments that stand out?
Definitely for me, there's a scene with our pink ninja who actually reprises her role from the music video. So she's actually in the film and the music video. It's like the one character that we've actually had in more than one piece. But we had to have her do these things where she was like flipping through the scene and landing in a split, and we must have done it like 20 times because the snow was so slick, and she just goes sliding out of frame, or it was like all over the place. And she was just a trooper, and Leilana Tran is her name, and she just crushed it and brought it. And it's always nice when everybody's on set and having a good time, and you see actors bouncing off of each other, and I love that. And I would say when it comes to the bloopers, when it was just Rob and I, it was definitely more of a stoic situation. There wasn't as much like laughing out loud going on. But when we brought in the other characters and they were, working off of each other, that's when it got really funny.
It's because it was so damn cold, and we were just waiting to get finish shooting and get inside. If you stay to the end of the film, Tim organized about 4 minutes worth of bloopers that play throughout the credits at the end of the film, which is quite entertaining, actually. So you see a lot of mixed up lines and just mistakes that happen.
I'm a fan of old Jackie Chan movies, and like he always put the outtakes in his films, which I love. Yeah. So for me, especially when you get done spending like half a year on a project, you want to show the mistakes that you made to people, because you want people to know like that it was just a couple people on the set first off. So it's like, whoa, where's the crew? Where's all the people? And so that I think is nice to kind of take the fourth wall away and show everybody, and then just the stress of like not having someone behind you to you're like, oh, I got to run 100 feet over there to go switch the lens out now, and and then run all the way back, and then all of a sudden you're like the light changed, the clouds popped in, or so there's stresses involved. But to me, that's filmmaking, right?
Sometimes the blooper reel end credits are the best part of an entire film. So this film has made the rounds at a lot of festivals. What has been the crowd reactions to it?
I was at a film festival in Southern California for it, and it's a dark comedy, so there was just that those types of reactions, just the natural laugh parts throughout the film.
I guess at the Bin Film, I unfortunately was in China working on a documentary, but supposedly it was just, they were rolling over laughing the entire film. Like it was, the whole crowd was really, really into it. So I wish I could have been there to see that. But my wife was there, and she said it was just, we couldn't have had a better presentation. So
fantastic. Well, yeah. What do you to hope that people get out of watching 2 Below Zero?
Well, I just like this, maybe just a bit of a time capsule back to the 1970s. It's kind of an absurd story, and I hope it's kind of entertaining and just kind of a departure from everyone's day, and they can have a good time watching it.
Definitely, yeah. Just to forget who they are for 45 minutes and lose themselves and stuff. Right?
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Pennan, and thank you, Tim, for being a part of the Klamath Independent Film Festival this year. 2 Below Zero will screen on Saturday, September 18th at 6 p.m. in our Southern Features category, and available all week on demand. Thank you, Pennan. Thank you, Tim, so much for being here.
Thank you, Kurt.